Alrighty, party peoples of the interwebs, if you had any lingering doubt, Joe Biden is not yet done making fools out of all of his followers
and the American political process as a whole.
Viva Fry, former Montreal litigator turned current Florida rumbler, in my home office, and I have removed the doors and the roof from the home office. People, I was driving to Miami yesterday for my interview with Mike Benz, driving down the highway with no doors. Stick around for the end of this vlog. You'll see the video of that. It was terrifying, and I dare say
I liked it.
All right, but the news of the day is President Joe Biden is not yet done making utter fools of all of his followers, people who came out and said, Joe Biden's never going to pardon Hunter Biden. He's going to let the rule of law play out. Karine Jean-Pierre, abused of her position as press secretary, to shame journalists who asked her that question over and over again, to which she answered over and over again, no, Joe Biden is not going to pardon his son Hunter, and he pardoned his son Hunter for a decade of potential criminality.
Second one, would the president pardon or commute his son if he's convicted?
So I've answered this question before. It was asked of me not too long ago, a couple of weeks ago, and I was very clear, and I said no.
Okay. Let me go back to the first question of the briefing. I know you said not a lot's changed since yesterday and that it's a personal matter, but from a presidential perspective, is there any possibility that the president would end up pardoning his son?
No.
Again, you've also said several times that the president would not pardon or commute sentences for his son, Hunter. I just want to make sure that that is not going to change over the next 6 months. The president's saying he would not.
It's still a no. It's still a no.
It will always be a no.
It's still a no. It will be a no. It is a no, and I don't have anything else to add. Will he pardon his son? No.
And when Joe Biden pardoned Hunter, you had people taking to Twitter saying, oh, Joe Biden only pardoned his son. Donald Trump pardoned hundreds of people. Who's the bad guy now? And I was saying at the time, these tweets are going to come back to bite somebody in the ass. Just by way of example, Bad Company at Bad Company. Hey, Comer, sit down at James Comer. Trump issued a total of 143 pardons during his first 4 years in office. 1 in 2017, 6 in 2018, 8 in 2019, 12 in 2020, and 116 in January 2021. 116 going out the door to some of the worst miscreants out there. And another one that aged well, at Blue Hue 123, whose title is A. Trump issued a total of 144 pardons during his first 4 years in office, and they get the same numbers there. President Biden, his son. Drop a blue heart if you stand with Joe, and there you've got Joe in a cool convertible. Other than it being interesting seeing the same talking points coming out of these propaganda accounts all at the same time in unison, anybody who thought Joe was going to stop at his son, anyone who thought that Trump had actually pardoned an exceedingly high number of people, my goodness, you look like idiots now. Trump's 166 pardons pale in comparison to what Joe Biden just did today. And in case you haven't heard the news, pardons, commutations galore. From the Associated Press, Biden commutes roughly 1,500 sentences and pardons 39 people in biggest single-day act of clemency. Quote, America was built on the promise of possibility and second chances, end quote, Biden said in a statement. Quote, as president, I have the great privilege of extending mercy to people who have demonstrated remorse and rehabilitation, restoring opportunity for Americans to participate in daily life and contribute to their communities, and taking steps to remove sentencing disparities for nonviolent offenders, especially those convicted of drug offenses, end quote. Well, you now no longer get to say, oh, well, he only pardoned his son because he loved him, but big bad boogeyman Trump pardoned more people. The biggest single-day commutation pardon in recent presidential history. It's not just the sheer number, because I do agree. A, presidential pardons is of the purely presidential privilege of the president, but B, some people do deserve pardons. Some people do deserve clemency. But when you hear one name in particular of the individuals who was granted clemency today, you might get a little bit angry. From The Hill, quote, kids for cash, end quote, victim reacts after Biden commutes sentence for Pennsylvania judge. Scranton, Pennsylvania. President Joe Biden commuted the sentence of disgraced, quote, kids for cash, end quote, Judge Michael Conahan, and one victim is expressing anger over it. Conahan and fellow Judge Mark Chivarella both of Luzerne County, Pennsylvania, were convicted in connection with a scheme that sent thousands of juveniles to 2 private detention centers in exchange for millions of dollars in kickbacks.
2 judges who sent children to for-profit jails in exchange for money set to pay more than $200 million to the victims of their crimes. A district judge in Pennsylvania said the money will go to nearly 300 victims and their families. The 2 former judges convicted in what prosecutors called a kids for cash scheme. The prosecutors said the judges shut down a county-run juvenile detention center in Pennsylvania. Then they accepted nearly $3 million in kickbacks from a builder and co-owner of 2 for-profit facilities. One of the judges sent kids as young as 8 to the detention centers, many of them first-time offenders convicted of minor crimes. The Pennsylvania Supreme Court ended up throwing out about 4,000 juvenile convictions after investigators uncovered the scheme. The district judge on Tuesday wrote that both men abandoned their oaths. He said their cruel and despicable actions victimized a vulnerable population of young people, many of whom were suffering from emotional issues and mental health concerns.
Let's take a brief pause from this vlog for a word from our sponsor, the Chicago Steak Company. People, I love celebrating the holidays, and the way I do it is with a beautiful steak on a barbecue and a nice dry martini. The holiday seasons are here, and there is no better way to celebrate it than with a memorable steak from the Chicago Steak Company. Right now, Chicago Steak Company is spreading the holiday cheer with an unbeatable offer exclusively for my viewers at mychicagosteak.com/Viva to receive 4 bourbon sirloin steaks, a bottle of their signature steak seasoning, and free shipping on your order of $199 or more. Imagine gathering your loved ones around a holiday table filled with tender, juicy steaks, deliciously seasoned with the best flavors of the season. Chicago Steak Company's premium cuts, from their beautifully marbled ribeyes to perfectly aged New York strips, are exactly what your holiday season needs to impress every single guest. All you need to do is head over to chicagosteakcompany.com/Viva and place your first order of $199 or more to unlock this festive offer. You'll receive 4 free bourbon sirloin steaks, a signature steak seasoning, and free shipping right to your door just in time to bring the magic of the holiday season to your table and to your barbecue in your backyard. The Chicago Steak Company is premium hand-cut, aged to perfection steaks that make every holiday meal extraordinary. Receive 4 free bourbon steaks with your order of $199 or more. 100% satisfaction guarantee ensures quality you can trust with every order. Celebrate the holidays with a feast that will leave everyone talking. Elevate your table with the premium flavors of Chicago Steak Company, all backed by their 100% satisfaction guarantee. Order now to make this holiday season unforgettable.
Now, it is actually very, very difficult, if not borderline impossible, to describe the depravity and the evil of the scheme of these 2 judges. They literally arranged for the private construction of private detention facilities, juvenile centers, using their positions of power as judges so that they could then make sure that these juvenile detention centers were fully stocked with juveniles that they sent away for the most ridiculously inane transgressions of law. Understand this. They facilitated the construction of a private detention center, knowing that the state would be paying for the room and board, basically the rent of any juveniles they sent to this detention center. They were getting kickbacks after having done it, and they were literally sending juveniles to these detention centers so they could get their kickbacks to finance whatever lifestyle they had. They ruined lives. Some of these children ended up taking their own lives. They've ruined the lives of countless children, stolen the years of lives from children, caused immeasurable hardship and trauma so they could make a few bucks. And yeah, they made $2.8 million for the price of their soul. These people are evil incarnate. In the case of Conahan, he got sentenced to 27 years in prison, and I'm trying to steelman the argument, understand how it could have been that Biden commuted the sentence of Conahan, because I think what he did was an act of pure evil for which forgiveness can never be sought. But I'm just sitting here trying to think, how did he go ahead and commute the sentence? Was there some sort of fraud that went along with his pleading guilty? Was Conahan the victim of some sort of extortion scheme himself, such that his conviction could be attenuated, or the sentence that he got attenuated? And the bottom line is no. I listened to a bunch of podcasts throughout the day on the Cash for Kids scheme. It's evil, pure and simple. And Joe Biden, on his way out the door, goes ahead and pardons one of his fellow Scranton, Pennsylvania corrupt judges. It is, in fact, a slap in the face of the victims of these egregious crimes. But then I did find the slightest bit of steel manning this commutation of a sentence, because it seems that Judge Conahan was actually let out of prison during COVID so that he could be on house arrest, and now he's fully integrated back into the family, and that's why he gets a commutation of sentence. Back to the article in The Hill, and citing the statement from the White House, these commutation recipients who were placed on home confinement during the COVID pandemic have successfully successfully reintegrated into their families and communities and have shown that they deserve a second chance. The White House. A corrupt judge who abused of his position of power so that he could literally put children in jail, put children in juvenile detention centers for absolutely non-existent crimes in the first place. In some cases, there was one story of a girl who set up some MySpace account to make fun of a teacher. The school called the police and that girl was put into this detention center. I don't know for how long. The two judges who were involved in this scheme actually denied the juveniles legal representation. Something like 50% of the juveniles who were brought before these two judges who conspired for this disgusting project were denied or not offered legal representation, which was something like a factor of 100 more than the average. They sent these kids to these juvie centers so they could pocket a few $1,000,000, as if there's a price on a human soul. But the judge deserves a second chance because he was let out of jail, let out of serving that 27 years that he deserves that and more of. He was let out of jail during COVID, and now that he's reintegrated with his family, he deserves a second chance and a commutation of the sentence? I'm sorry, I am not a vengeful person. I am a fair person, and I think that that judge, Conahan, deserves to die in jail. He deserves to spend the rest of his life in jail, but he certainly deserves to spend the rest of his 27 years in jail. But no, he's out, and Joe Biden is making a fool out of his followers, the media, and the system as a whole.
Donald Trump refers to himself as a political prisoner and blames you directly. What's your response to that, sir?
So that is the rant of the day. If anyone thought that Joe was going to stop at his son and not make a mockery of the system, congratulations, eat crow, tell me how it tastes. But before you do anything else, make sure that you are subscribed, that you have notifications turned on so that you know when I put out a video. Drop a comment because it feeds the algorithm. Most importantly, exercise, eat healthy, sunlight, talk to people in real life. And now enjoy the video of me flipping out on the highway, driving a car with no doors. Now you know you vlog. Peace out.